Welcome to Aiken Business Matters. I'm John McMichael, your host, and we are at the Greater Aiken Chamber of Commerce today, and we've got two very special young ladies that we want to introduce to you today. I have to my right Elizabeth Cahill. Elizabeth, how are you doing today?
Nice. I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Elizabeth is chairman of the AYP, or Aiken Young Professionals. And Elizabeth, would you introduce our other guest?
Absolutely. This is Kendall Carter, and she is the vice chair for Aiken Young Professionals.
Well, welcome to our program, and we're so happy to have you here
Thanks
today.
for having us.
We've only been trying to do this for a while now, haven't we?
We have.
But
It only took us 10 years.
that's right. But we finally done it, and we're just excited to have you here because I think you have a message and some information that will really be very beneficial to anyone in the community that wants to see it, but especially to our business community and our young professionals. Give us a little bit of your background,
Sure.
Elizabeth, if you would.
Absolutely. So I've been in Aiken for about 4 years,
Okay.
and I got plugged into AYP very early in my tenure here.
Who introduced you, though?
So I was actually introduced at an unofficial AYP party.
Okay.
And I met Sarah Kenny.
Okay.
And she has become one of my best friends. And so she invited me to come to the next meeting, and I just got plugged in from there.
Yeah. What do you do?
I am the training manager for Rule Sourcing Incorporated. So Rule Sourcing does what we call domestic sourcing for IT and software development firms. So we'll work with larger companies on major projects, and we provide an alternative for people going overseas. We try to do that here in the U.S.
Well, how about that? That sounds very interesting, and certainly in tune with the times today because everything is digital and IT.
Absolutely.
Okay. And Kendall, how about you?
Sure. I've been in Aiken now for, hard to believe, but 11 years. And for the first several years that I lived here, I didn't really have a lot of connections to the Aiken community. You know, I went to work and then I kind of came home, that sort of thing. And I knew that that piece was missing. And so I finally found out about AYP through their Facebook group and thought, you know, it looked really interesting, and decided just kind of on my own to go to one of the Third Thursday events and check it out. And, you know, walked in not really knowing anybody, but walked away, you know, just really kind of loving the idea and loving the vision and the mission behind the group. And now, you know, I've been involved, I think, for about 4.5 years now, and have met some of my very best friends through the organization.
And I always say full disclosure, but you and I've known each other for a while.
A long time now.
A very long time, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just funny how you can build relationships, and you both were just talking about the relationship
Absolutely.
part of it. That's a real big part of the AYP program, isn't it?
Absolutely. That's really our foundation. It's giving young professionals something to do and a reason to stay, which is those relationships that we form, whether it be business, you know, professional type relationships or social relationships. Those are both extremely important.
Right. I know that Kendall and I and some others in the past have always talked about how do we retain our young professionals in Aiken? How do we draw them or bring them back once they've gone to college? And so this is just one of those mechanisms to do that, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Now, I know that AYP is celebrating something special. You want to tell us about that?
Yeah, absolutely. We are celebrating our 10th year anniversary.
Wow.
So we started in 2007, and Tom Young actually was our first chair.
Right.
And we feel like we've come a long way from the 20 or 30 people that were in the room back 10 years ago. We have an active membership of about 150 at least at this point. We had over 100 people actually here at the chamber last night for our Third Thursday
For a special event, yeah.
And so we're very proud. We're actually one of the largest, most active young professionals groups in the state.
So this is not something that's just new to Aiken. There's another larger group of, around the state.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
these organizations exist all over the state, but believe it or not, our Aiken Young Professionals is more active than a lot of the larger cities. We've actually had folks from the Charleston Young Professionals group contact us and say, you know, kind of tell us what your secret is for getting so many people to attend your events. So even though we're a smaller city than a lot of our sister cities, we've really had a great response to the group and tend to have a good participation and a strong membership base each year. And it's just grown from year to year.
I know, serving on the Chamber Board of Directors for a number of years, I was privileged to work with and be one of the liaisons between AYP and the board.
Right.
And that was a lot of fun because I think the energy that you bring to it, is just really, it's catching.
Yeah.
And it's good.
Yeah.
Also, one of the things that has always intrigued me is the fact that the young professionals that I see come through AYP, I've known a number of them over the years. I see them really taking positions of leadership within the community, not just in the AYP, but it's almost like a training ground for young. And I look, you mentioned Tom Young Jr., and Tom is our state senator from this for our Aiken County, and so Tom did a great thing by kicking this program off, and we see what he's done. And I look through the names of the previous chairman, and they're all in great places. No pressure on you.
Yeah, we were just kind of talking about that earlier. That's actually been kind of a great byproduct, so to speak, of involvement with AYP, is that it does tend to lead to some more prominent, so to speak, positions in the community, if that's what you want out of your membership. We always tell people that your membership, you can get as little out of it or as much out of it as you want. So if you join AYP with the goal of being more plugged into Aiken and eventually, getting on a board or sitting on a committee, this is a great avenue to be able to do that.
Right. I was asked some time ago by a young person just coming into the community, and I was talking about, you need to plug in and get some, so you'll have some peer-to-peer activity. And I was explaining to them what Aiken Young Professionals was all about and what they offered. And they said, "How did you know so much about it?" I said, "Because I was intrigued because I saw the fruits of the labor of the organization and what it was all about, and just saw the benefits to the young professionals." And I want to just kind of give you a glimpse of what I said to them and see if you agree with me.
Okay.
So if I'm going to be an ambassador for you, I might as well make sure I get it right. But the one thing that I really have noticed over the years is that the three main tenets that I see is the professionalism that you bring, natural, but also the passion that you bring with it too, and the people part of it. It's a opportunity for people to network business-wise, because we all need that.
Sure.
And you all, I know, help each other to develop your own businesses and talk about your businesses and promote each other's businesses, which is there a good byproduct of the chamber. I noticed that all of you also are involved in chamber activities as well as the AYP activities. But the personal side, and I think you mentioned it and you did too, that you've developed some great long-term personal friendships out of AYP.
Definitely. I always tell people, as cheesy as it may sound, that joining AYP was probably one of the best decisions I made from a professional and a personal standpoint, because just like you said, and I think Liz mentioned it too, we really have met some of our very best friends through this organization, and it really helps, obviously, when you're walking into a room of people. It helps to see some friendly faces, but it also is great that after the events are over, that we all want to go hang out with each other and be at each other's weddings and spend time together. So, I mean, it really has been, I think I can speak for both of us on this, it's really been a great tool for meeting people our age and for meeting people with similar interests. And you hear a lot of times people will talk about Aiken as a place for retirees, and that there aren't things for younger people to do. And we're here. You just have to find us, and that's what I always tell people, to come to a Third Thursday event or a supper club event, and that's where you'll meet people our age and And I think that we've both been able to take advantage of that.
Well, I think the fact that you mentioned that, that's probably has been a thing in the past, but the success that you've had with the organization in the last few years certainly flies in the face of that, doesn't it? I mean, it really, with your organization being so vibrant and the number of people that you have participating on a regular basis, there is a turn towards the opportunities for the young professionals in Aiken, and you see a lot of things in the future that are coming to Aiken that are going to manifest itself in more young people coming to Aiken. So they'll have a place to plug in, right?
Yes,
Absolutely.
definitely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
What is, if we haven't already stated it, what would you say to our audience is, what is the real mission of AYP?
So the mission is to bring people that are young professionals, or what the new term is now, early career professionals,
Okay.
mid-career professionals. That's a new thing. But we're trying to bring people together to be plugged into the community, to connect with the community, and like I said, give people a reason to stick around. we want to improve our retention rate for people that are coming back from college and having families and staying here. We want them to have an opportunity to be a part of something bigger.
While we're talking about the mission, what criteria do you use to have somebody join AYP?
So
Obviously, I would not be a candidate for membership.
You can
welcome
visit
anytime.
Good. That was good. That was
so
very
we
good.
define a young professional as anyone who is between the ages of 22 and 39. We don't really have any restrictions on the type of industry that you have to work in. We've got a little bit of everything in our group. I mean, I think we were talking earlier about some of the industries, and we've got, people in the education field, in the medical field, engineering, technology, marketing. I mean, we've got a little bit of everything. So, just because you don't sit behind a desk all day doesn't mean that you're not considered a young professional. So we just want to make sure that everybody understands that if you're between the ages of 22 and 39 and you work in this area, we want to have you at our events, regardless of what your occupation is.
If I've just moved into town and I happen to see this, how do I find out when the meetings are, where the meeting's going to be? Is there a place or a person that I can contact?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can always contact the chamber,
Okay.
and Melissa is
Melissa Viola.
Yeah, she's our liaison for the chamber.
Okay.
She handles all of our admin pieces there, so we really appreciate her. Yes. And so you can contact the chamber, but it's really easy. So our events every month, they're called Third Thursday. So they're on the third Thursday of every month.
Easy to remember.
Yeah.
What time?
5:30.
5:30
Okay.
and go to 7:30.
And
You can come right after work.
Exactly.
Try to make it easy for people to get
So
there.
do I need an invitation or just show up?
You just show up.
yeah, visitors, first-time visitors are always welcome to come, and then our membership fees are really low. It's $55 for a chamber member, and then $75 for a non-chamber member, and that covers 12 events plus a year. We have a big end-of-the-year gala, and we're going to be participating in some community events this year, hopefully throwing a big 10th year anniversary shindig, and also working with the park, one of the parkway revitalization pieces.
Tell people about that.
Absolutely. So part of Aiken's revitalization project is taking a look at the parkways in Aiken County, in the city of Aiken, and restoring those back to what they historically were back. I'm in the
mid-1800s.
Mid-1800s. I was about to say, I'm going to get the dates wrong on that. But AYP was approached to be a part of that team, and we were so honored to be a part of that team with the city and a couple of other influential groups here in Aiken, Downtown Development Association being one of them. And they asked us if we would be willing to sponsor one of those parkway revitalizations. So we're going to be working on the one outside of the train depot.
Oh.
Yeah.
Right on Park Avenue.
Absolutely. So we're very excited about that. I know that it may not be happening right away. We would like to get started, but I think there's some things that we need, design pieces that we need to get worked out first. But we're happy to give back to the community in that regard.
That's a great club project, or say club. That's a great organizational project
we're really
to have.
excited about that.
And I'm sure everybody will really get involved in that.
Yeah, they're excited.
It should be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You had an event last night,
we did.
okay, and our cameras were there too.
Yes, they were.
And we filmed some of that, so we'll be showing that during the broadcast. But if you had to summarize what is the most important thing to you about AYP as an individual, not as an officer, but as an individual, tell me, Elizabeth, what?
Relationships.
Relationships.
I've found, like I said, some of my best friends. I've found colleagues that have joined my industry and my organization. I have found, actually, the person that I'm dating, that I've been with for over 2 years, I met at AYP.
Wow.
So I think for me, it's all about relationships, and I've had the opportunity to build relationships with the business community here and serve on some boards and have my opinion heard, which is amazing.
Right.
Yeah.
And how about you?
Yeah, I mean, I think Liz hit the nail on the head. Relationships, connections, I don't know if you can see our banner in the shot, but our tagline, with the chamber for this year's Connect, and Connect AYP. So just, not only making those professional networking connections, but also, the personal connections like we've talked about, the connections to the community like Liz mentioned, being able to plug into other organizations. I'm serving currently on the board of the Aiken Downtown Development Association, which was a direct result of my involvement with AYP. So things like that just allow you additional opportunities to have your voice heard and really make a difference. If that's what you want to do through your membership, you definitely have the opportunity to do that.
Well, AYP definitely fosters a sense of community.
Yes.
And also it is a great organization for people to invest their time, talents in, not only personally, but also for the community too. And I noticed your branding up there has changed a little bit.
Very excited.
That was a long time coming.
Absolutely. So you'll notice a similarity between the colors of the chamber, new chamber logo.
Right.
And so the same folks that
Right.
that helped design all of the Aiken branding and
Right.
all of the chamber branding helped us with our logo as well.
And guess what? The city's going to have some new branding coming out too, which will follow suit with this, so that when people look at the community, they will see that the community is part and parcel together.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a great thing.
Absolutely.
One thing I want to leave both of you with, or ask you both, do you recommend your friends and families and of young people, businesses, to promote this within their organizations for their young professionals?
Well, I think what our answer is going to be, but obviously we both feel very strongly that it's a great thing for companies and businesses to be involved in. My business, my company, Aiken Technical College, is actually a sponsor and has been for the last several years. And so with certain levels of sponsorship, you actually get a certain number of membership slots as a perk for your sponsorship. So definitely would encourage companies to promote the organization to their employees. We've actually been working with some of the HR departments to get the word out.
Right.
And make sure that they understand that this is an option and that this is a great opportunity for their employees. So I would say definitely yes, it's a great thing. Everybody wins. You've got employees that are plugged in and involved, which is going to, like we said earlier, incentivize them to stay in this area. The company itself is getting benefits. We promote our sponsors and put their logos on all of our sponsorship materials, so it's a way to get their name out there and get some additional exposure for them. So I say yes for sure.
Good. And I know you're going to say the same thing.
Absolutely. I think Kendall hit the nail on the head. She did. It's exactly right. And
you trained her well.
she trained me, believe me.
Well, you're in training.
But if anybody sees this and is interested, I'm happy to set up a meeting and go over the benefits of AYP with employees. And
we'll have some information on video here that they can, with contact information.
And we do have a Facebook group as well. It's
good.
just Aiken Young Professionals, where we, all of our information about upcoming events. We put pictures from events and announcements, so they can check that out as well.
Great. So, thank you very much for being with us today. We appreciate it, and thank you so much for joining us again today. And if you are a business owner and you have new employees or employees that would fit into this criteria for joining AYP, we encourage you to do so. It will not only help them be more a part of the community, but will benefit your business with the ability to be able to network with other young professionals in the community. But thank you for joining us again today, and we look forward to having you join us again next week on Aiken Business